I whip lumberjacks up in Maine. I've been hired and fired and jailed in every town you can name me, 'cause I'm bad news. Everywhere I go, always getting in trouble. But I wouldn't choke, I broke the rope, so they had to let me go, 'cause I'm bad. Everywhere I go, yeah, always getting into trouble and leaving little girls that hate to see me go. North to south, east to west, the story is the same. From one state to another, I have to change my name, 'cause I'm bad news. Everywhere I go, I'm always getting into trouble and leaving little girls that hate to see me go. I'm bad news, baby. You better hit that road, 'cause that road don't hit back. Yeah, I'm bad news.
Mr. Lawler, we certainly appreciate you giving us this opportunity to come out and talk with you and maybe ask a few questions.
Sure, come on in the house. Let me get cleaned up a little bit. I'll answer any questions.
I understand you've got a hit record in the making. Is that so?
Oh, yeah, bad news. 3 weeks, it's going to be #1 all over the nation.
3 weeks to the top.
Just make yourself at home. Kitchen's back there. Get yourself a coat or something. I'm going to slip on some more clothes, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You heard me refer to myself as bad news. Well, you said you'd heard my latest record, and that's the name of it. It's an old John D. Loudermilk song, and I rearranged it, produced it myself, and sang it. And in 3 weeks, you count them, 3 weeks, that record's going to be #1 all over the nation. It's the greatest song I've ever heard. I mean, you know, I don't want to be too modest or anything, but it's just the greatest song I've ever heard. And I want to take this opportunity, if I can, to thank 3 good friends of mine, Jim Blake, Tim Riley, and Jim Dickerson. They all helped me on the record. Of course, I did the major part of it, but without their help, I probably couldn't have got the record done. And they just helped me on #1 record. It's called Bad News, and you just listen to radio, you're going to be hearing it. But you know, you can talk about records and country music stars, and you can talk about boats, but you can't talk to the king without talking about wrestling. Maybe that's what we ought to do a little bit of right now. I started, well, let's go way back. I started my career about 2.5, 3 years ago, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. And I had some matches in West Memphis, Arkansas, anywhere I could get booked, because I wanted to be a wrestler. And finally one day, I don't know who it was, but somebody from the big league wrestling office saw me wrestle. I got a call one day from Nick Goulas, and he said, "Hey kid, I hear you can wrestle." That was the start of my career. So he got me booked in Memphis, and at first I tried to wrestle by the rules. I wanted everybody to cheer for me. Boy, I could just see myself standing up there and all those people saying, "Look at that Lawler. He's great, isn't he?" So I wrestled by them rules, and those people clapped for me, but you know I lost every match I wrestled. And I found out something about people in Memphis. They don't like a loser. And when I lost those matches, they stopped cheering for me. So I decided, boy, wrestling by the rules ain't gonna win matches, and that ain't gonna pay my bills. So I finally smartened up, and I started winning my matches, and I've been winning ever since. And I guess I've become about the winningest wrestler in the sport today. I just simply don't lose anymore. I've wrestled them all. I've wrestled the Sheik, Bobo Brazil, Dick the Bruiser, all the tops. And what makes me know that I'm the greatest is that they came to me. I didn't have to go to them. They came to me to wrestle. First, the Sheik came calling. I had a little trouble with the Sheik because, I'll be honest with you people, I had heard about the Sheik all my life, and I'd read about him in the magazines, seen him on television. To me, I guess he was probably the best known wrestler all over the world, and I thought, man, this guy's got to be something else. But when it came time for that bell to ring and I looked across the ring at that Sheik, I said, well, man, he's just like me. And about 5 minutes into that match, I realized, man, he's not as good as me. From then on, it was all downhill. After the Sheik, I beat that Bobo Brazil, Mr. Wrestling #2, and Dick the Bruiser. I beat them all. Now it all boils down to me and Jack Brisco, September the 16th. Let me tell you just a little bit first about Jack Brisco. He's a young wrestler, just like myself, but he's not quite as young as I am. Jack Brisco's 28. I'm 24. That gives me 4 more years of youth. So if the match is a long match, I'm going to have that extra bit of stamina. I can go the distance. He may be able to go the distance, but it's going to tell on him quicker than it will on me. But the main thing about Jack Brisco is he's a goody two-shoes. He's going to be out there in front of 12,000 people, and he's going to be thinking about defending that title, but he's also going to be wanting to please those people. He's going to want to hear those 12,000 people cheer for Jack Brisco. Well, you know, I don't care if the people cheer for me because I didn't get this house and that boat, but people cheering for me. I got it from winning matches, and I'm going to win that match. I'm going to beat Jack Brisco any way I have to do it.
Jack working in on him. Lawler goes for the ring rope, and he is kicked out of it. Hit himself on the ring apron on those ribs that Brisco had already bruised. Lawler in pain on the floor. Brisco had softened those ribs up. He kicked him out. Lawler hit his ribs on the ring apron. Hops back to that same apron right now and back into the ring. Jack looking very confident across the ring. Has his wind back. Lawler has not. But you never know about Lawler, whether he's sandbagging you or not. He's still rubbing those ribs. Brisco cautiously now goes to the corner, slaps Lawler back. Trying to get him to come out. Lawler now. This is the Lawler that everybody here knows. He comes out signifying he's ready for a fight. Brisco, a southpaw, shoots a couple of rights to the midsection. Right on the butt. He got him. Brisco needs to go for the pin instead of taunting Lawler. Lawler goes to the ropes as Brisco had locked up. Hammered in. It was but Brisco capitalized and moved into a title victory over Jerry Lawler. Oh! He ripped his head, pounded Lawler's head right down to the mat. Brisco over the shoulder. There goes Jack again. At the 15-minute mark, Brisco with that leg hook puts the heat on. He has Lawler. You can see Lawler's leg right over his own leg, the ankle, and Brisco with tremendous pressure in there. Brisco, of course, famous for that figure 4 clutch. Doesn't have his own foot hook, but he has Lawler in total misery. And Lawler now reverts it as he cuts Brisco's foot back up. And Jack to the rope is going to get a break out of this one. Jack Brisco, who had Lawler's leg in a real substantial bar, had it suddenly reversed on him as Lawler put the heat on Brisco's left leg. And now, both of them suffering from the rigors of 16 and a half minutes of grueling battle. Lawler tenderly and gingerly moving on that left leg. Brisco grabs it, picks him up, drops him on it, and there he goes. Whoa! Jerry Lawler really booted Brisco into the turnbuckle. Jack hit his shoulder, and he may be in bad shape. Lawler drops on him with that big fist and a cover. 1, 2, 3. He got him. He got him. Jerry Lawler turned the tide when he kicked Brisco into the turnbuckles. Lawler falling to the mat. Can hardly stand on that left leg. Jack Brisco has got to be having his second thoughts about ever, even for the money, giving Lawler a return shot. As Jerry Lawler has won back his Southern heavyweight title